This is Always Acting Up. My name is Caslin, and I will be your podcast host. This is the podcast where I will be sharing all of my personal journeys and stories as an actress in the entertainment industry. So this episode, I'm going to tell you about the moment that it finally happened. But before we go ahead and do that, and I tell you more about what I'm actually talking about, let me give a quick shout out to you guys tuning in every week on the podcast, listening on YouTube. I know I've got a couple DMs on Instagram. And of course, I do want to make sure we have a shout out for my producer, Hisani Johnson. So what I'm finally talking about is the project that it finally happened. I know you're probably asking, okay, so what? Like, what is it? What finally happened? Well, you guys, I finally got to work on a project that took my butt out of town. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but if I weren't acting, like my favorite thing in the world is a plane ticket. And if I weren't acting, I would be traveling the world, living in a different country, whatever it is. It's not that I don't like home, like I love home, but I just love traveling so much. And usually, like, if I'm working on a project in California or let's say Phoenix, Tucson, whatever, that's because I took myself there on my own dime so that I could work as a local hire. And one day, I know, one day I won't have to do that because I will actually be in a place where production will want me so badly that they will provide my transportation and lodging. But until then, I typically take myself to other, states to get the credits because sometimes there's just not enough going on where I am. So I take myself and I go other places. So here is the moment that finally took me away. And I'm very excited to show you, to talk about this project. This is a project that I actually just recently saw. And the cool thing about that, and I may have mentioned this before, is sometimes like you do projects and you're like, oh my God, it's going to turn out great. I can't wait to see it. And you just never hear about it again, or you just never hear about it again, or it doesn't get done, or something happened, they ran out of money, or they realized the project wasn't how they wanted and they just scrapped the whole thing. So this was a really cool project that I just recently saw at a film festival in Boulder. I think it's Boulder City. And I don't mean Colorado, I mean like Nevada. So that just screened at the film festival there. And it had a really great response too. I'm really proud to be a part of it. Great production value, really great team, and it was a fun project. So what is this project, I'm sure you're asking? Well, it is a short film called Andrea, and I end up playing the older sister. So how that really happened was, well, one day I was doing my typical let's go browse and applies for jobs, which I typically do every single day throughout the entire day. And if I don't do it on my own, I usually get some type of notification via, a little phone notification or email saying, hey, there's a role available, come and apply for it. And I do that often, all the time. I'm constantly looking for work because I think that is kind of our job, is to look for work. I was going through, I think I had just finished Actors Access, and I was going on to Backstage, which, by the way, if anyone is living in a smaller market right now, I would highly suggest signing up for Backstage. And I didn't have Backstage when I was living in LA because, to be honest, I couldn't afford another casting website, and I really didn't think that Backstage would have that much work available. Maybe it does in bigger markets. I just didn't know because I never had it. But since I moved to a smaller market and now I'm living in Vegas, I have surprisingly gotten a lot of work from Backstage. I guess that's my little plug for Backstage. # sponsor me. Anyways, I go on Backstage and it looks like they are a project. There's a project that's going to be casting in Las Vegas, filming locally in one of the mountain areas. It's Mount Charleston. So I was like, oh, dope. Yay, cool. A short film that's actually filming in Las Vegas. And they were paying. So I was like, cool. I typically do not anymore at this time do non-paying work unless I know it's going to be dope. Or the person, I've always wanted to work with this person, or it's a role, or I need footage. There has to be a real reason for me to work non-paying. Gosh, that sounds really snotty. I'm not trying to say there's something wrong with it. I just typically don't do that anymore. So that's just for everyone to make their own opinions. But I was like, all right, dope. Like, this is, I fit the breakdown. Like, let's do this. And I ended up getting called in for it, for the lead role. And I read, and I had a really good read, actually. I felt pretty good about it. It was just sort of a matter of how was everybody else? Was everybody else okay? Did I fit the part well enough? Could they match me up with the rest of the other characters, since it was just going to be me, basically a sisters and a dad. Actually, that's really not the story. The original script was a mom, dad, and the daughter, and I was originally playing the daughter, obviously, like older young adult daughter. And so I had originally read for that daughter, and that makes sense to me. And the cool thing, I got an email saying, we really liked your read. However, we changed the characters up a little bit and would like for you to play this different role. And I had to think to myself, like, I don't remember reading this character in the script at all when you sent it to me. Like, can you please send me the script? Like, who is this character? And it turns out that they liked this version of the script better, to have two sisters and a dad. And I was now going to be playing the older sister, and there was somebody else who was going to be playing my younger sister. So I was like, well, hell yeah, like, that's dope. First of all, I'm not going to say no, but it's dope that they kind of changed up the script and now I get an opportunity to be a part of it. So that was really super cool. Let me applaud myself there. So of course, once I confirm, we start going over the timeline and dates, and are you available for this? Are you available for that? And then here it goes. They go, hey, so we were actually going to be filming up in Mount Charleston, but we couldn't get the place. Would you be okay if we filmed in Utah? Oh my God. Wait, of course I would be okay with it. They were going to be taking a shuttle and driving us there, and then we were going to be staying in a cabin. And I'm like, how cool is that? Hell yeah, of course I'm going to do that. You guys, Utah's like 2-hour drive away or something like that. But it doesn't matter, because me and my traveling obsession was like, oh my gosh, like, Utah's recently one of my new favorite places since I've discovered it just last year when I went to Mount Zion, which was really cool, or Zion National Park, whatever it's called. And so I was like, hell yeah, like, take my ass to Utah. This is dope. The only problem with this film is I had been super, super lucky, and I booked another project that was going to be filming down in Tucson, almost the exact same dates. Oh my God, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, what are the chances of booking 2 projects at the same time? And then the fact that they're going to be in 2 different states was like, gosh, this never happens. Like, what a joke. And the other project had already switched their days multiple times. So I was like, oh gosh, like, what if I confirm one and then the other changes, and I have to choose, and the last thing I want to do is have to choose between 2 projects. And these are really wonderful problems to have, but I don't want to be the asshole that has to back out and everyone has to change their schedule again and recast, and I didn't want to have to do that. So thank God. Thank you, Jesus, and for all my stars that were being aligned. It filmed almost the same time, really. We finished this project in Utah, and then the very next day I headed out to Tucson. But anyways, it was so cool. You guys, I got to stay in a cabin in Utah for 2 days of filming. And I know that's probably not a big deal for most people, but I've never been camping like in my entire life. And like, now that I live in Nevada, I never get to see like trees and grass and like nature. And I'm not saying we don't have that here, but it is the desert and there's a lot of rocks and it's very dry. So that was super effing cool. And one of my favorite things about this production was because everyone from Nevada had to go over to Utah, we only had a limited amount of time being there. The crew was amazing. These guys have worked with each other on many, many, many projects before. They're very organized. They get along well. And you can just watch during production and throughout the days that they were just all in sync. They were gelled. Like, it was just constantly someone stepping up or someone doing this. Like, it was awesome. And my favorite thing was that when I got on set, they had prepared so much that we were filming within 10 minutes of me being mic'd up. So that means that they had gone the day before we got there, blocked out the entire film and where everything was going to be. The sound guy had already gotten room tone in every single room before we got there, so that, you know, once we wrapped production on day 2, everyone could just go and have a couple drinks and enjoy and celebrate. But it was so cool. Like, I had never stepped on a set that was like ready to go so quickly. And like, production's hard, you guys. Like, me and my little podcast is struggling all the time. There's a lot that needs to be done, and sometimes communication issues can happen, or most of the time it's technical. But it was so cool to go on set. We were filming. It was super efficient. And we basically spent 2 days of filming, and it was me, my dad, and my younger sister, and I got to be really snotty and rude, and that is my new favorite character that I get to play. I don't know why I keep getting cast in those characters lately, but perhaps there's some type of resting bitch face or something that I'm really good at. People are really getting a glimpse at, and I guess that's my new character type. All right, thanks, guys. And that was just my quick little story of me finally getting to work on a project that takes me out somewhere else. It's really nice and refreshing to not have to fund my own transportation and lodging once I get there. And I don't have a problem with it. Like, I'm still going to do it until there's an opportunity for me where I don't have to. But it was just really cool to book this short that... Did I even tell you guys what it was called? Well, let me tell you, it was called Andrea. I don't know if I ever actually told you guys that, but there's a short film called Andrea, and I get to play the sister Amy. And yeah, we had like a little cookout every day. One of the producers was barbecuing for us, and there was one of the scenes where the dad got to hang around a campfire, and because the campfire was lit, once I was done, I got to go hang out by the campfire and look at the stars and see actual sky, because looking at the stars is one of my favorite things in the world. Sometimes if you're living in like a smoggy place like LA, you just don't get to see stars. So that was really cool. And I had a really good time on this project. And the fact that it was done and it was completed and I had a really good time with everybody on set. Everyone was really fabulous. It was just a really great project to be a part of. So that's what I'm saying. It finally happened. And now, of course, it is a time for a moment of positivity. Okay, so here it is, my moment of positivity. And I had to think about this for a second because I couldn't decide if I wanted to do just a random thought of positivity or something pertaining to my obsession with traveling and acting. And I do want to share that I think the universe is always listening. The universe knows that I am always trying to go somewhere else and be on all these different projects. And I feel that the amount of times I've put myself out there, that the universe, I know this sounds crazy if you're one that just doesn't believe this stuff, the universe was like, all right, like, let's give this girl a chance here. And they sent my butt to Utah. So I think that's maybe really on the topic of persistence, and what you put in is what you get back. So yeah, that's my moment of positivity. What do you put in, you get back. I guess we can also call it karma. So yay! That was my fun story. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, you are the best. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, or you have a funny story, please put it in the comments below. Remember to like, subscribe, share it with your friends on my podcast platforms, YouTube, Instagram, and you guys have a fantastic day. Catch you next time. And that was my cool story. I don't know if there was really a good point to it, but it was so much fun and I loved it. And I'm really proud to be a part of this project. So I don't even know if it's on somewhere for you guys to go watch, but go find it somewhere. It's called Andrea. Bye.